I'm Leslie Davis, and this is
Mallory McDaniel.
We are registered dietitians with Atlanta Bariatrics, and we are excited today to introduce an amazing, easy, and delicious fall recipe. We are going to be doing some sheet pan full roasted vegetables. So Thanksgiving is only a couple weeks away, and traditionally this meal is filled with lots of amazing side dishes that are not always low in fat and sugar, but we're going to introduce one recipe that you can make that is easy to make, and it's tasty, and it is also low in saturated fat and sugar, and you can easily find these ingredients that we're going to be using today at any local store. So we're going to start by preheating your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you're just going to need a small bowl to mix spices and a little bit of olive oil and vinegar. So first, we're going to just easily measure out 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. And if you don't have olive oil, you can use whatever oil you have on hand. Maybe it's canola oil or another grapeseed oil. So measure that out and just add it to your bowl. And then next, we're going to mix in mustard. Now the recipe calls for a whole grain mustard, but it can be Dijon or whatever mustard that you have on hand. And we have a tablespoon of mustard, whole grain mustard or Dijon. So you'll mix that together with the oil. And then you can either use fresh thyme or what we have is the dried thyme. So the recipe just calls for 1/2 tablespoon. We're just going to use about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more of the dried thyme, and you can adjust this to your taste. We also are using apple cider vinegar. So we're going to measure out 1/2 tablespoon, but it's divided. So what we're adding right now is just 1 teaspoon into the measure. And then later, after your vegetables are roasted, we're going to drizzle with the remaining apple cider vinegar. We also are going to add in a little bit of salt. So you can use sea salt, kosher salt, whatever you have on hand. So just 1/2 teaspoon. It doesn't require much. We have some other great flavors in there, so you don't need a lot. And then we just have 1/8 of a teaspoon of the ground, 1/4 of a teaspoon of the ground black pepper. Of course, you can adjust this also to your flavor, whatever you like. And we're going to whisk all of that together. Once you get that combined into a nice mixture, we're going to start adding the vegetables to a different bowl. So you want a large bowl, and the first thing that we're going to add is butternut squash. Now we've already peeled and cubed the butternut squash, but you can find this if you have a farmer's market or a local store. You can buy it whole and peel it and cube it, or if you want to make it a lot easier and you don't have time to peel and cube, you can buy it frozen or already peeled and cubed at the produce section of your local store. Next, so that was about 1/2 pound peeled. It's about 3 cups of the butternut squash. Parsnips, and you may or may not have used parsnips before. They look like big white carrots, but they're actually a root vegetable, and we're going to peel and cut those into 1-inch pieces, and that's about 2 1/4 cups. So we can add that if you don't have those. If you can't find those, you can add carrots or any other type of vegetable that you like. And then we have some nice Brussels sprouts. And you can just get those fresh and easily trim them and half them. If you haven't had roasted Brussels sprouts, they're really nice. They get sweet on the outside, or crunchy on the outside and sweet on the inside. And then we have just a few, maybe 4 small Yukon Gold potatoes. If you have other potatoes on hand, you can of course use those as well. But it really is just a very small amount of those, maybe a cup total. And so we just peeled and cut those. And now Mallory's mixing all of those together, and she's going to add the oil, vinegar, and spice mixture in with the vegetables. And we're just gonna combine those and toss them until they're evenly coated. You could also, if you have a big 2-gallon plastic bag, you could mix them with that, with the mixture, and shake it around. So either way, but just get those nice and coated. There'll be lots of flavor.
Starting to smell really good with that vinegar.
It is smelling good.
Okay.
Okay, so now that the vegetables have been tossed and coated with that really good smelling vinegar and oil and spice mixture, we're going to spread it onto a single layer onto the baking sheet. And our oven should be preheated to 450. And we're just gonna cook this mixture for 35 minutes or until it's browned and tender. So your oven time may be different. You wanna check these occasionally. Make sure they're getting a little bit toasty brown and tender. You can stick them with a fork and make sure they're getting tender. Once they're finished cooking, you can remove them from the oven, and that's when we'll drizzle the remaining half a teaspoon of vinegar and toss them around. And it's just that easy, and you have a delicious, healthy side dish to go with your Thanksgiving meal.